Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, October 11th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick, a couple of clarification points. Number one, the price you see over here will be changing and the candlestick you see right there will be moving. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, Apdn, absolutely monster move here today and is now setting up with a very, very nice pattern headed into Tuesday. So let's get things mapped out here. And the first part of this pattern, which got to think a lot of people are watching, right up here at $2.25. So key level there, that would be part of the breakout portion. And then as far as the bottom part of the pattern, got to think that a lot of people have drawn that line in right there, just a very basic trend line. And then change that to green to represent more so a bullish dynamic. And then to maybe make this easier to see, let's just keep it all the same color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have our big momentum move right here. And let's put our golf hole down here to make it a little bit more visual. And this would be a bull pennant pattern. So while nothing is guaranteed in the market, my point here is this. Is it valid? Is it plausible to think that if the price can come up here and break that level that a lot of people are watching, even if you just want to call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, could that break then create that much more buying pressure? That is certainly not a guaranteed, but a plausible outcome. So if you like to play bull pennants, if you like to play this sort of price range and get those potentially self-fulfilling prophecy type dynamics, definitely keep an eye on this 225 mark here on Apdn. Next one, Imux, and same general idea here. Very, very big move today. And then all afternoon long, the price is basically just kind of chopped around sideways here. But as I speak, and this is why I like to do these when the market's still open, check out this last 30 minutes as it approaches the highs right now. So looking like a very realistic chance that it does break up through those highs. So let's get this area in play right now, the key level of resistance. You got to think that a lot of people have drawn this trend line, so not trying to impress you, not trying to imply that that's some sort of great discovery. And I once again say that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So guarantees, no, but valid, plausible to think that the price comes up to that level and gets the break up through it, that break could in and of itself create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure. That is certainly a valid thought process to have. And that puts the breakout mark right up there around $6.15, give or take a little bit. And as I speak, look at that. It just bounced right off of it. The power of charts. Isn't that cool? We'll see if it can break up through there. Now, I should note this because the market still has about 15 minutes before it closes. But if you come back and because by the time you watch this, the market will be closed and the price is well up above 16.15, well, that will just tell you that a breakout is underway. But both situations are unique because right now we have the question, will the breakout happen? But if the breakout does happen and it gets more movement, then the question becomes, okay, well, is this the start of something even bigger? So both those questions are very worthwhile to keep an eye on, and that's the whole idea of a watch list, is to find interesting situations and not randomly rush out and buy anything, but to watch them. So again, whether or not this breaks out, if it doesn't break out, the question is, will it break out? If it does break out, the question becomes, okay, is this breakout the start of something much bigger? And like I said, both of those very intriguing situations. Next one, XELA, which is certainly looking rough right now to think that at one point the price was all the way up here and now it's dropped all the way to where it is. However, the point here being is it did get a lot of volume today. And while it could be game over, that is a two-sided coin because, well, maybe it's not game over and this is just a healthy pullback, which is why, in my mind, the very interesting level to watch moving forward can be right here at that 39-cent mark, which was basically the gap close location and has held already once. So if the price does come back down here, it brings about the more than valid question of, okay, there's bottom number one. Do we get bottom number two and potentially a double bottom where this thing then gets another move to the upside? Now, like I said, maybe not. Maybe if it comes back down, it's beginning of the end and that thing just crashes. Completely possible. That's why risk management matters. But like I said, that is a two-sided coin because, well, maybe it is a double bottom and then you get a nice move to the upside. So if you like to play more so those situations where things are looking pretty bleak, but there could still potentially be a turnaround where you can structure good risk versus reward scenarios, then keep an eye on that one and that 39-cent mark. Next one here, ticker symbol F for Ford, and I want to keep this one very straightforward because it's a basic premise, and I realize it's hard to see, but got to go back here to have this make more sense. But keep in mind where this green line is coming from right there. Let's just call it 11.15. Way back in the chart's history, you can see that it had a low right there. We'll call that mid-July. Then late September had another low, and then let's zoom back in here and you'll see what I mean with what happened to today. And you can see that today. Well, once again, did the price hit that green line exactly? No, but I think we can all agree. Did it get within that level very, very closely? It did, and now you are starting to see some sort of bounce, which brings about the more than valid question of, okay, is there some sort of continued bounce that's going to happen? Now, maybe not. But nobody could accuse you of thinking and making this some sort of random, question, because as I just showed, there is a big track record of the price finding support around that green line and then bouncing. So sure, maybe it's a fake bounce and the price rolls back over. Like I said, that's why risk management matters. But as I've said already, it is a two-sided coin because, well, maybe this is the start of a bigger move and this thing keeps on bouncing further and further. So worth at least keep an eye on. It's certainly an interesting situation here. But yeah, is Ford getting ready to break down to lows which haven't been seen for months upon months, or is this the start of a much bigger bounce? Let's see how it continues to play out. Next one, AMC, a very, very brutal day, just in the sense of not because it was massively red, but because of all the false hope it created. I mean, you stop thinking about that opening part of the day, the price was down here and then recovered all the way up there. And at that point, I mean, that was a good-looking bounce. But then you can see what happened. The price went literally right back to where it all started. So that was simply just a dead cat bounce right here. And like I said, just a very demoralizing day based on the nature of how things ultimately played out. But also to give some credit where credit's due, maybe some sort of bottom is trying to form here with the lows down around that $6.25 mark. You can see that that's where the price stopped during the opening 30 minutes. And then later on with this pretty nasty move to the downside, the price did start to go sideways right above that level. So as I've said, does that mean that's for sure guaranteed to be the bottom? No, but it becomes at least a plausible thought to say, okay, maybe this area is some sort of bottom and maybe there could be some sort of quality bounce in the upwards direction. I'm not going to use the word reversal right now. Can a bounce turn into a reversal? Yeah, absolutely. But bounces can also just be dead cat bounces, again, case in point right there. So I can totally see how somebody might be thinking that maybe another bounce is underway. And then at that point, let's get to see if a bounce happens. And then you can start to discuss a potential reversal. But either way, yeah, a cruel day today. But at least the price did not roll back over and then crash down through that green line, because that would have made things look really, really bad. You at least got some sideways movement. So we'll see if this is any sort of leading indicator of a bottom that's formed. Real quickly, I want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online training I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you see and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to help build consistency within your trading, then I want you to get signed up for the free training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description box. If you're watching on my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying what you see, you want to learn more, then definitely get signed up for the free training. Next one here, SOBR, and the last time I was looking at this one, I was thinking I'd be talking about different things, and I'll still talk about those same things. It's just changed a little bit due to the last 30 minutes. I mean, check this out. Last 30 minutes, big red candle, which is now, like I said, it hasn't destroyed the chart, but it's just not making the chart look nearly as good as what it once did. But the first dynamic here that I was planning on talking about, and it's still completely relevant, so don't get me wrong, but is about that resistance trend line right there. So in the event this last 30 minutes maybe doesn't really mean anything and the price turns around and gets back up to that level, that's one of those areas where, we can call it a self-fulfilling prophecy point, whatever you want to call it. But it becomes very valid to think that if the price can break up through that level, it could create additional upwards buying pressure. So we want to keep an eye on that. But what now is becoming more and more, seemingly possible is for a couple different levels to get tested. Right down here around 275, which is kind of a double whammy of support. You have not only the purple line right there, the 50-period moving average, but then you also have this previous breakout point right there. Not that that means it'll for sure bounce, but I mean, I can certainly understand your thought process. Say, yeah, I think it could be bouncing off right around 275. And then from more of the bigger picture, story of things, if the price comes down here and breaks through there, well, now at that point, that's essentially putting the price right back to where it was. And again, from a quote-unquote story perspective, not exactly a good a sign of true strength when the price all of a sudden gone back to where it was. So keep an eye on these levels, though, and we'll see how it continues to play out. Next, MULN, which was just an absolute beatdown today. But what does make this interesting, however, I also want to point out a warning in regard to it, is, yeah, there's no doubt about it. After hitting all the way down here, very low move, the price has now started to create an upwards channel. So like I said, got to give credit where credit's due. After a big beatdown, there is an upwards channel afterway. But the warning comes into play from a pattern perspective, because what was going on before this upwards channel? Well, there is a big downwards movement here. And from a pattern perspective, this is a bear flag pattern. Now, let me be very clear. And just like if something's a bullish pattern, does not mean for sure the price is going up. The flip side is true. Just because something's bearish does not mean the price is for sure going to go down. So I'm not saying that, the price is going to roll back over. My point is that movement would not shock anybody. That would just simply be continuation of the trend that's already in place. So yes, you can have some excitement. You can be saying, okay, that's great. We got ourselves an upwards channel, but you have to acknowledge the fact that this is all still creating an overall bearish pattern, once again known as a bear flag pattern. So just keep that in mind from both sides of the equation, and it's something that you don't want to get be excited, sure, but don't get too excited about it, because there's still a whole lot more work that needs to be done. Next, NIO, and this is one that's just too popular of a stock to not continue to watch it, because this thing continues to get pushed downwards. But today, yeah, it went down, but you can see now that there's a pretty well-defined little sideways movement there right at 13.15. And as I've already said, just because something goes sideways does not mean that it's a bottom. But my core dynamic here is that NIO is such a popular stock, and when popular stocks get beat down so much, it doesn't create a whole lot to create a good, worthwhile, tradable bounce. Now, once again, I'm not going to use the word reversal to describe anything, but yeah, could a dead cat bounce show up where you get a quality move in the upwards direction? Absolutely. And as traders, sometimes that's all you need. And the level here that I think a lot of people are going to be watching is that trend line right there. And they're just, people are looking for any reason at all to buy such a popular stock. And sometimes all it takes is a technical break of that level right there. And that right there, once more, not guaranteed, but more than valid to think could create some upwards pressure. So keep an eye on that. Now, on the flip side of things, if the price just comes down here and crashes down through 13.15, that would be another indicator that the bears are not only remaining in control, but they're gaining just that much more strength. But overall, like I said, NIO, too popular of a stock, too beat down to not at least keep an eye on it. Next one, Tsla Tesla, and I put this one, very specifically because the same exact premise holds true. Too popular of a stock that's been beat down too much to not at least keep an eye on. So as I just did with NIO, let's map out this very well-defined sideways area that's starting to form here right at the 221 mark. And then you also have, the trend line here that you got to think a lot of people have drawn. And as is the case with NIO, people are looking for any reason at all. And if that means it's a technical pattern where it gets up to there and pushes up through that level, then not guaranteed, but more than plausible to think that that could create upwards worthwhile bounce. So like I said, I'm not going to repeat anything more. Same exact premise as NIO, just happens to be Tesla. Next one, TQQQ, and this is an ETF that allows you to make money if you believe that the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to rise. It just allows you to do so at a lower price. So again, if you think that the NASDAQ markets are going to be going up, then TQQQ allows you to take advantage of it. And we have ourselves just an interesting situation because it all boils around basically that 30-minute session right there. Is that some sort of leading indicator that, some sort of bottom has been found and there could be a quality bounce? Once again, just to really reiterate, I'm not going to use that word reversal because that implies something completely different. But from a trading standpoint, a bounce is something you can work with and potentially make money with. And you can see that after that 30-minute session occurred, price did just go sideways here. But once again, it still is all aligning the question of, okay, is that just a little consolidation before you get more movement upwards? Now, some people are going to be saying, yeah, Clay, but look, this thing is potentially getting ready to fail back to the downside, and I completely understand that. I 100% see where you're coming from. But that's going back to the whole beginning of the video, the idea, the philosophy behind a watch list, to find interesting situations, and not randomly rush out and do anything, but to watch it. And the point here being is because of that big 30-minute surge, and because of the fact that after that surge, you got some sideways movement here, it becomes a valid question, an interesting question of, okay, is this a temporary pause before continuation, or is this just going to roll back over? Both those scenarios are very, very interesting and can produce and lead to some very, very quality trade outcomes. But, somebody's always going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong, which is what circles back to the whole idea of that risk management. But yeah, no doubt about it. Interesting surge. Does that surge actually mean anything? We'll see what happens. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more and take your understanding to another level to build consistency, get signed up for the class Thursday, October 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, do two things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment below, tell me what you traded today, tell me what you're watching tomorrow. But those two things communicate to me that you enjoy, and as long as I know people are enjoying, I'll continue to do them. So get signed up for the free training, hit that like button, leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one.